moment, I would like to invite the next presenter, which is Tamara Hajdina from Končar Digital, and she will give us an insight why cyber threat intelligence is very important for the energy sector and how we can achieve this through the mechanisms that we will establish in the ALiEnS-SOC project.
Oh, thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to present one of the topics that we're dealing with inside the ALiEnS-SOC project. So my name is Tamara Hajdina, and I'm leading our development team here in Končar Digital. The development team is focused on developing solutions which are more focused to OT security topic. Just also a short introduction for everyone who does not know that Končar is not only a company that produces transformers and trams. We have a very long tradition in developing digital solutions for operational technology, for control systems, mainly in different types of critical infrastructure. And then again, inside critical infrastructure, energy domain is one of our priorities historically, but also currently we're working on several projects in the energy domain. Our knowledge about OT security comes from more than 40 years experience in developing different types of software solutions for the OT. And it was inevitable to come also to security of those systems. More recently, we have also been in the domain of cyber threat intelligence, sharing. We are participating in two projects. One of them is also ALiEnS-SOC. The other one is another project where we also have Slovenian partners, where we're developing a cyber threat intelligence platform. In this project, we are the only cross-border partner, so I think all the other partners are Slovenian. We bring in the expertise about OT security, and also we will serve as one of the partners involved in the cross-border cyber threat intelligence sharing. So the title of this presentation is Empowering the Energy Sector Through Collaborative Cyber Threat Intelligence Sharing. So I like to start with the beginning to define what is cyber threat intelligence. We've heard Andrej and Venčeslav before him talking about different terminology inside the security domain. So once you're inside, you really know all the abbreviations, and you're aware that cybersecurity is a very wide area now, and one can really specialize in different directions. Cyber threat intelligence is one of those big areas which can be then studied really in depth. So what is cyber threat intelligence? It says it's the process of collecting, analyzing, and sharing information about existing and potential cyber threats, such as attackers, tactics, vulnerabilities, and indicators of compromise to help organizations understand risks and make informed security decisions. So I think it's very clear definitions, and then inside this definition, there are, again, a lot of things that needs to be discussed. Now, after I give you the definition, I will give you an example, and it's the most recent example about the cyber attack on Polish energy infrastructure. So this is information that was shared with public. I think the date on the article is January 15th. So this was the first piece of intelligence actually that the public received about this incident. So this is one type of intelligence that you can get, open source intelligence online about what happened there. What actually happened there was actually a first attack on distributed energy sources. All the other attacks that were previously known in the energy domain were targeting a big transmission and big distribution substations. This one was targeting smaller renewable energy sources that are distributed on the network. And this is something that we know. The other piece of information that we have about the attack comes from one of the vendors, the Bregar company. They just issued several days ago intelligence brief where they gave more technical information about the attack. So why I'm giving you this example to show you on this example, what is cyber threat intelligence and what types of cyber threat intelligence we have and what types of sources can we use to gather cyber threat intelligence. So what we know so far from these sources is we have the attribution to known threat actor. So based on some of the traces that were left, there is a high probability that the responsibles are the Sandworm company, let's say. They have a history of targeting energy sector. So both previous successful attacks on the energy sector were attributed to them. We have a more also technical information. We have malware signatures and some behavioral artifacts that were found by vendors who are present in the Polish energy infrastructure. We have some tactics, techniques, and procedures. We know that they were using this destructive malware that was targeting OT communication. So, and that they were targeting distributed energy assets. So this is, again, not so technical, but we know which parts of the OT environment they were targeting. And then there's for me, the least interesting thing, the political context of the entire thing. So this was an example just to show you what can be threat intelligence. This is rather new, so at this point we don't have that many really technical information, but I suppose that inside the community we will also get a little bit more precise information about what was happening there. So when we talk about cyber threat intelligence, that there is a life cycle of how you plan to get it, how you collect it, then how it's processed, analyzed, and finally disseminated among people who are interested to receive this kind of information, and then also gathering the feedback from people who got this information about if it was something that was useful for them. CTI is usually ingested from multiple sources, as shown in the previous example. And there are also platforms, some of them standardized, that have open APIs and that use some kind of normalized standard formats for exchanging. They're used as part of the Security Operations Center, and we've seen that on the previous presentations. And the threat intelligence is one of the sources that enriches all the Security Operations Center telemetry that's gathered through CMEDRs or any other sort of solution that's installed in the network. And finally, it helps to recognize some kind of behavioral patterns, to recognize IOCs, TTPs, that are already known as something that was used in previous attacks. Apart from receiving threat intelligence, the Security Operations Center can be a source of cyber threat intelligence. In case there is an incident on your network, you are then the actor who can analyze what's happening and create a piece of important information that can be shared with others, and then used to help them inside their SOCs to prepare for something similar. So those SOC findings, they can feed back into CTAs, and they can help inside a platform to validate if something similar happened to other people. So you can imagine that Security Operations Center is like a radar that's scanning around, and there are a lot of alerts that we see, but those alerts can be false alerts. Cyber threat intelligence helps us to add contacts and help us to have less false positives inside our environment. So let me talk again tell something about technical value of cyber threat intelligence. So especially in the energy sector. So when we talk about threat intelligence in general, those information can come from different types of environments and sectors. When we talk about energy sector, what is specific here is that one of the key parts of the energy sector infrastructure is OT infrastructure, which is very specific to the energy domain. There are different types of cyber threat intelligence that can come from the finance, the banking, and they're interesting, and we should be aware of them. But sharing information about techniques that are targeting SCADAs, PLCs, or relays is really something that's helpful in the energy sector. Again, something that's validated inside the sectors can, as I said, reduce false positives in CM, SOAR, or any other OT-specific platforms that are used in your SOC. CTA then also helps and supports coordinated defense because we can anticipate what can happen. For example, the Polish attack, what's interesting there is that it targeted distributed energy sources. Those distributed energy sources have something in common. But then the energy sector is highly connected cross-border. We've seen that on some of the previous events in the energy sector, which were not targeted, which were not initiated by the cyber attack, but we see that some effects can very easily go and cross borders. We've seen that on the Spanish blackout, I think it was last year. So it's really important to have a cross-border coordination about what's happening in the energy sector. One of the good example of how we actually learn and gain knowledge about what's happening is the example of Ukrainian attacks. So first attack that was successful in 2016 led to a really widespread outage in the network. But based on what happened then and based on the intelligence that was gathered during the second attempt in 2017, the defenders were better prepared because they learned some of the crucial lessons from the first incident. So that's how all this information can really help us to prepare better for what's coming. So I would like to talk also about the sources of cyber threat intelligence. So I think no single organization can see the full threat picture in the energy sector, but we have sector and government sharing communities. In Slovenia, it's URSIF, so it's national CERT. On the European level, we have the Energy ISEC. ISEC is short for Information Sharing and Analysis Center. So all the organizations are actually free. Organizations that are interested into joining are free to join this ISEC and get insight into what's happening in the energy domain inside Europe. I think that ELES is part of the EE ISEC, and Concha is also now on the path to become part of the organization. There are several different ISECs on the European level. There's one for transport, one for finance. They are also trying to communicate between to share some of threat intelligence that could really be beneficial for all. So then we have the specialized security vendors, like in the Polish example, it was Dragos, an American company. They have a deeper visibility into SCADA, PLC, because they have their probes, their sensors already there in the systems, so they can extract and see how those threats actually behave inside substations, control rooms, and field devices. Then there are commercial threat intelligence providers. I will not do the marketing for them, but they have really large-scale telemetry and they have a lot of IOCs. They also do the attribution, campaign tracking, and there are some of them who are enriched for energy and critical infrastructure relevance. But usually the most valuable insight comes from our own environment. When we correlate external intelligence with what our SOC and OT teams can observe locally, or through bilateral information sharing, for example, if we had the Croatian Energy SOC and then Slovenian Energy SOC, that kind of collaboration would be very beneficial, something that's not really internal, but since we do share a lot of connection lines in the energy sector, then it would make sense to also share cyber threat intelligence cross-border between our countries. Finally, I think this might have been a good introduction for the next presentation, where you will hear more about how technically cyber threat intelligence is shared. There are several options, but one of them widely used is the MISP, which is open sourced and that can be used by different partners who agree to share information. For example, EEISEC also have their own MISP platform, so there is a possibility to connect to them and to actually try to somehow automatically share those information without needing to send, emails, reports, but machine-to-machine communication here would be something that could benefit us all and could really help us share information faster than we did so far. So thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to the next presentation. As I said, I think this was a good introduction to what will be presented by a colleague from URSIF.
Thank you, Tamara, for a very comprehensive presentation of a very important topic.